Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast, Retro Life for You, movies of the 80s and 90s. My name is Chris Adams, host of the show, and we are without Marty and Travis this week. At the time we are recording, they are at work, and I'm running the show solo today, but you guys know I never let you down. We got somebody really cool on with us today. It's going to sit here and talk with us about some things. And if you're a fan of Christmas movies, you may remember her as that plucky schemer, I believe she was described. Uh, Jesse Riggs. And if you know her more from the 2000s, she's got a lot of great documentaries out there we're going to talk about as well. So, welcome to the show with us here, Rebecca Harrell Tickell.
Thank you. Wow, you pronounced my name wrong. I even get it wrong sometimes. So
Oh,
I was
did I read it
surprised that.
wrong? What is
No,
it?
you
I'm
got it
sorry.
right. No, what am I
Oh,
saying? You
right.
got it right. You got it right. Like, I
Oh,
don't even know how to pronounce my own name anymore.
I thought for a second, did I mess it up?
No,
Really? I'm
I,
sorry.
what I meant is you got it right. You get a prize for
I get a
that.
prize. All right. I get
Yeah.
a right. I get a prize, everybody. Not Travis and Marty because they're not here. I get a prize. So, but yeah, hey, thanks a lot for coming on with us today. I really appreciate it. Like I said, I was telling you just a moment ago, I don't know how. I guess when Prancer first came out, I was in I want to say I was sophomore or junior in high school probably. So it wasn't exactly the kind of movies that I went for at the time. I was big in action movies, like you get a young boy, what, 17 or 16, 17 years old, something like that, want to watch the karate movies and the
Oh yeah.
action movies, and
Terminator.
Christmas. Who wants to watch Christmas? Come on,
Die Hard. Die Hard, the best Christmas
That
movie,
was a
right?
Christmas movie, right? So I mean, but over the years you change your how you watch things and everything. And I saw you on an interview with I can't really call them friends. I don't know them in real life. I've talked to them several times. That you were on Buzz in the Tower podcast a couple of
Mhm.
years ago with Mo and Max, and two pretty good guys actually.
Yeah.
And I was like, this Prancer. Okay, I know of Prancer. I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it. So I'm listening to this, and I'm like, now I got to go watch this movie now. So I went and watched it, and as I told you, it's on my rotation every year now for Christmas movies
Oh,
for sure.
thank you. Well, it's on my rotation too.
I hope so. I hope so. You got to look back and say, hey, I did that. That's great.
It's been wild because my children are now 8 and 11. And so it's just so strange to look at them and then look at me on the screen as an 8-year-old and then look at them. Um, yeah, it's magical to get to watch it with my children, and it's really magical for me. I mean, I love Christmas. I think it's like, oh, my season. I had a lot in common with Jessie, which is why they cast me as her. I mean, I feel like I am her and that she is me and she's grown up with me. So to have my children watch the film, it's um, something I always dreamed of. And now I get the luxury of being able to do it. And I can't wait to do it again this year.
That's awesome. Everybody says the same thing about their kids seeing them for the first time in a movie. They'll go back and play it for them and say, hey, you know who that is right there? And they're looking at it and they'll look back at them like, is that you? That's not you, is it? We are you familiar with Diane Franklin?
No.
She was in Better Off Dead, Bill and Ted's
Uh,
Excellent Adventure, a
oh,
couple other things and everything.
yeah.
We had her on with us, and she actually was teaching acting in theater in high school for quite a few years when she got out of acting for a while. And I guess none of them really knew. The parents knew her, but the
Hmm.
kids didn't. And when she brought the attention to the kids, they just went crazy over it. So did you just reminded me of that? It just came to mind. Um, to work with the people you worked with though was really awesome too. You had a great cast in that movie.
It was, it was a master class in filmmaking, and I got to have a front row seat to it all. And I mean, really, I mean, it was a wild time on the set of Prancer. People were arrested. There was a fire. There was all kinds of shenanigans going on, and I had a front row seat as an 8-year-old girl, and I learned so much. And it set me on the path that I'm on today. I became crystal clear when I was on the set of Prancer that this was my life path, that I wanted to tell stories, that I wanted to touch people's lives. And I realized very early, intuitively, and just through my lived experience, that storytelling can change the world. And it has. I mean, throughout
Absolutely.
history, storytelling is what creates countries and borders and success and failure. It's our world is shaped by the stories that we hear. And so for me to be able to have my life be about telling stories, that has been such a privilege to be able to reach so many people. And when I came out to Hollywood, as a young adult, I very quickly realized that that was not the norm for Hollywood to tell stories that touch people's hearts. A lot of like sex and guns and violence. That's what most entertainment is. And then all of a sudden you have Sam Elliott crying on camera, talking to his daughter, in this very heartfelt way about the struggle for American farmers, which is very real for a lot of people in our country and around the world.
Yes.
um, I realized that when you have that authenticity on camera in these stories, that you can move mountains. And so when I came out to Hollywood and I was cast as, either a victim or as eye candy, or the classic moment for me, I was in a Clive Barker horror movie. He wrote like Hellraiser and Candyman and all these
Yes.
scary movies from our generation. And I was the lead role. And I'm not going to say what that movie was, but I was a succubus, which was the lead role, and I sucked the souls and blood of men. And at the
Well,
end,
see, I'm glad you said you're not going to say the name of it because I almost said the name of it. I'm not going to now. Since you said you're not going to, we're going to leave it to the imagination of the people.
Yes, Google. You can Google it. Not that you should. This is a waste of your time. Believe me. The best part of it is this story, which is at the end, I'm giving birth to this like giant squid alien like baby that's then trying to eat me as I'm birthing it out of my stomach on the basement floor of a monastery covered in buckets of goo. With like 8 puppeteers under the table because it was 2002. So we didn't really have much CGI technology then. It was sort of the beginning of that whole realm.
Hmm.
And I just remember thinking to myself, as they're like fly in a diaper, because I'm like, I have to pee, and I'm like strapped down to this table. I'm like, time for a career change. Like I knew in that moment that those were not the stories that I
Yeah,
was
that's
to tell.
horror movies. You have be a very unique person. And one of my co-hosts, Marty, loves horror. He's actually written a couple of horror books as well, and he's very big into horror movies. Clive Barker, one of his favorites, Stephen King, and people of that nature. It's definitely you have to really, really be into that to enjoy
Mhm.
making it. I think, and if you're not really into it, it's not something you're going to look back on and be like, I really enjoyed my days during that movie. you know.
I fortunately made enough horror movies during those first few years in Hollywood that some of it was enjoyable, in the sense that I got to do fun things like ride horses and wear wardrobe from the 1800s and like do all kinds of fun things. Like that was fun. Making movies is fun for the most
It
part.
and still work with
Um
some good people too at the same
yeah,
time. I mean, I've seen some of your co-stars, I was looking up some of your older movies that I still haven't seen those either.
don't.
But and you're probably gonna tell me not to, I see. But I mean, I see some of the people you worked with, that's nice. David Arquette, Amy Smart, in the movie
Well,
you're kind of referencing there, I noticed, a second ago. Uh,
they were in the films that I directed. And
yeah,
so, I
that's
realized
right.
after.
Y'all were writers and director of that movie, I do believe.
So
Yeah.
after that film that I
Mhm.
almost said
Mm.
and didn't,
That film.
I had to like go through something to, it was kind of, I guess you would say it was like kind of a breakdown, in the sense that like a lot of people who are in show business at an early age really struggle to make that transition into adulthood, and especially
Mhm.
to continue a career into adulthood. There's not many who've been able to successfully do it. Most people, I'd say, probably more end up dead than famous. And
Yeah,
there's a
unfortunately.
reason for that. And it's because when you're that young and you become that famous, and I was famous as a 10-year-old. I mean, it's weird to say that now, but
Mhm.
as a 10-year-old, I couldn't go anywhere. And this was back before iPhones, but it didn't matter. I'd be walking through the mall to buy Christmas presents, and I would have a group of people following me with like old-fashioned cameras,
Right.
snapping photos. And this is just in Vermont, in like my little town. And so it was, um, and then very quickly, what happens is you have a fall from that high, that everyone does. There's like it's just this really hard things that happens to a young person, to have to go through all of that. And especially in Hollywood, that's really not about telling empowering stories. It's not really about healing the planet. It's not really about nurturing. It's really about entertainment and profit. And so I knew that I needed to have a transformation in my life, and I did. And I completed my past as an actor, and I committed myself to making a difference in the world. And I said, I'm going to make movies that heal the planet. And I didn't know how, and I had no evidence for that I could do that. I had all of the memories of all the talented people that I had worked with through the years who had shown me how to do it. So, and actually, because of Prancer, I ended up actually dropping out of high school. And I only did about 2 years of high school, and then I was able to get a tutor and graduate with my class, but I was actually really sick. And that was also part of one of the things that came after being in Prancer. And so, it was hard. Like, kids threw rocks at me, or whatever. Poor me.
Hmm.
Not really, right? All of this put me on this path, and I'm so
But you get
grateful.
but you get some kids that when you're at that age you were, you're gonna have some kids that are all, "Oh, that's my friend. I know her." Then you're gonna have
Mhm.
the kids that are a little on the jealous end, be like, yeah, like you said, throw rocks at you or something, or I don't like that girl over there. She's stuck up. I can't talk to
Mhm.
her and things
Oh,
like
you
it.
can
And
find comments like that on the internet. If you like
oh
kids that I
yeah,
went to school with, they were like, "Oh, she thought she was so much better than us." The truth is, I just wanted to be accepted and
yeah.
loved. That's all I wanted. And so I didn't.
That's all any kid really wants to be in
Yeah.
school. Have
Yeah.
friends, enjoy their time in school. It's hard enough, just being a kid in school.
Yeah. So
But
it
I
was
mean,
challenging, and I had a whole bunch of anyway. All of that led me out to California in this position where suddenly I had this huge commitment to using storytelling to affect the planet. And so, and that, and all of those struggles and all that hardship, and me just, realizing that chapter of my life was done. Um, it all set me on this path, and I'm so grateful for it now. And at the time I couldn't have said that. I wouldn't have said that. But now that I see it all in hindsight and I see where I am now, I realize that this is all the plan all along to get me to this place where I could tell these stories, because as far as I'm concerned, I love Prancer. And
mhm.
it's an incredible film, and it put me on this path, and I truly feel like I did that so that I could tell the stories of Kiss the Ground, Common Ground, the stories of how we can regenerate the earth, how we can heal the earth. And the irony is that it's all on theme, because when I come from a legacy farming family from the Midwest, and I watched my family members get sick from chemical exposure on the farm later in life. And I realized, and I saw how hard it is, how hard my dad worked, how the illnesses that my family have endured. It's all, they call them farmer diseases. And it's because farmers have a 5 times higher suicide rate than any other profession in the U.S. So that's the family that I come from. And then I ended up making this movie about a girl whose dad was Sam Elliott, who was a farmer, who are struggling, who've lost their mom. So again, another film about farming, and people really identified that with that, just like I did. And then later in life, to be in this position of being able to tell stories, and then coming across information about how we can stabilize the climate. And my Midwestern family, I can't really talk to them about climate necessarily, but I can talk to them about the weather. And everybody cares about the weather, and everybody cares about growing a good crop, and everybody cares about, whether there's going to be enough profit to put food on the table. And that's the intersection of the work that I do now. The
It all
intersection of
kind of goes hand in
focus.
hand, though. Still, though, the climate along with the weather
Mhm.
and bringing in the good crops and everything. If you have a bad climate going through, your weather's not going to be as great, and your crops are going to come in as well. So it all kind of works together.
Well,
Um,
I learned so much about that, which is that we actually affect the weather, how we manage the land, how we farm our land. It creates a microclimate, and it's how we can control our environment in terms of creating a stable climate, one that's not prone to blight and to flooding and to drought and to these extreme weather events. You can create real resilience through how we manage the land. And it's not the way that most farmers have been taught in land grant universities and what has been sort of rolled out through the Green Revolution. It's a different style of agriculture that mimics and mirrors nature. It mimics how farming had been done for a millennia before that. plus the modern technology that our farmers have been able to use. So it's really a combination of all these things, but it's so simple. It's
Hmm.
called heal soil. If we take care of the soil, we can grow nutrient dense food. We can have a stable hydrology, so we can have a stable small water cycle. And I mean, I've seen photos of these farms that from above that are doing these regenerative principles. And here in California, we have a lot of fires. And this one
Yeah.
farm was practicing regeneration in the northern part of the California in the Central Valley,
Hmm.
and there was a huge fire that came through, and everything was wiped out, like buildings destroyed, people killed, and this one farm that was had a stable hydrology that was resilient, it completely was unscathed. And looking at the photos from above, the perimeter, you can see how maybe the outside of the trees, where they had the windbreak, these hedgerows, um, they were a little singed, but not a single animal died. Nothing within the property burned. It was completely protected.
It's
And
amazing.
it is. And so it doesn't matter what your politics are. It doesn't matter whether you agree with scientists or not. The reality is that we shape our world through how we manage the land. And we can shape our immediate surroundings, our microclimate through how we manage the land. So where I live, if I'm managing it for regeneration and for soil health, I'm going to have resilience that perhaps in a neighboring town or in a neighboring area that they don't have. And we're going to have two totally different experiences of growing food, of life, of weather events. So that's a long-winded way of saying that when I came across this information that we can store that teraton of carbon that we've emitted since the Industrial Revolution, that's been absorbed by the ocean and creating ocean acidification and wreaking havoc on the planet and creating all kinds of disasters, all of that can be stabilized through what's called biosequestration, which is what we learned about in school, about how plants can absorb carbon and then put it down into the soil. And when we build that healthy topsoil, which America was built on, when we build
Hmm.
that healthy topsoil, we're resilient, we're healthy. It's like having the strongest immune system possible. We can completely turn around so much of the crisis that we're facing right now, and whether that's because of a financial burden, whether you're a farmer, whether you live in a community that's prone to mudslides or fire or drought or flooding or whatever it is, all of that can be remediated through how we manage our soil. Sounds like the worst thing to make movies about, right? Like so dull, like who wants to watch that movie? I don't. But that was the story that needed to be told.
The hardest part is not doing the work. The hardest part is getting the people to understand why they should do that, and then to actually get them to do it.
Hmm.
Once they start doing it, I'm sure, they'll see the turnaround and be happy to do it year in, year out. But to
Hmm.
get them to take that first step, like in many other things, to take that first step into it is the hardest part to get it done.
Yeah. Yeah. And, it's been interesting because, I've made about 20 films over the last 2 decades, directed, wrote, and produced.
Hmm.
And they're all documentaries except for one. And they're all about the environment. And they started off being about oil, about how we needed to reduce emissions, and that was before we really understood that reducing emissions was never going to actually do anything. Because even if we stopped all emissions right now today, we'd still
Hmm.
have a teraton of carbon in the atmosphere that we have to do something about. So when I learned about biosequestration, the power that it has to stabilize the climate, having made these films about oil, we were like, God, there's no worse, more dull, boring subject that we can make a movie about than oil, than soil. But, 7 years later, 2 children later, becoming a farmer and learning firsthand about this stuff and still learning, um, we made a film called Kiss the Ground, and Kiss the Ground came out during the pandemic, and it was on Netflix at first. Now it's on Prime. It's been it's considered one of the most successful environmental documentary films, period. It has helped to transform over 80 million acres in the United States into regeneration. So there's over 80 million acres in the US right now transitioning to regeneration. And a lot of that is attributed to the film Kiss the Ground as being, a catalyst that helped the government choose to put $20 billion into climate smart agriculture. It's King Charles's favorite movie. I got to go meet the king and film with him. I mean, it's just been amazing. And then now the regenerative movement has taken off, and I got to play a huge role and bringing it to the mainstream. And now it's like so far beyond me, but that's the power of storytelling. Is you tell a story and then people get transformed, and then that's how these big changes are made.
So I was looking up your documentaries last week, and I think Kiss the Ground might be the one I've seen. Is that the one that Woody Harrelson narrates?
Yes, and that was actually kind of funny because like a bunch of farmers were like, I don't know if I want to watch a movie with Woody Harrelson, blah blah blah. But then I watched it and it was actually pretty good. And then they talk for an hour about all of the principles in the film and how it's working on their land and how they're making a profit. Within year one, over 80% of farmers will make a profit after transitioning to regenerative practices. So it's a no-brainer. It gets farmers off of the chemical drip and the subsidy drip that actually is putting them further and further into debt and degrading the land and requiring more and more inputs that get more and more expensive. All of that can end. And farmers can make a profit through biodiversity, through healthy soil, through getting off of a monocrop system that is a degrading system and into a regenerative one that builds soil, builds human health, builds environmental health. So anyway, that's what Kiss the Ground was about. And amazingly, even though there might have been a little, maybe, California twinge to it, the reality is that it's been embraced by everyone. And even farmers, even my own father now sends me photos of his organic vegetables, which, is a long shot from the corn and soy that was grown on the land where I was born. So, yeah, these films they really can change the world. And then after Kiss the Ground had Woody Harrelson narrating and Giselle Bundchen and like a whole bunch of awesome people in it. But then Ground was the follow-up film, and that is a love letter to future generations. And the love letter was actually a dream that I had. And I woke up, it was actually a letter that I imagined telling my children, which is, look, we've messed this up. Sorry. And good news, there's a solution. And I'm going to fight like hell to make sure that this is the pathway forward for you. And so that's what ultimately became Common Ground. And that letter is read by Laura Dern, Donald Glover, Woody
uh,
Harrelson, Rosario Dawson, Ian Somerhalder. I'm forgetting
the Jason Momoa in that one.
Jason Momoa. How can I
Yeah.
forget Jason Momoa? And I think Common Ground might be my favorite film that we've ever made. And there's another film coming that's the follow-up to Kiss the Ground and Common Ground, and that's called Groundswell. And that will be coming out next year on Prime. And we're just getting that wrapped up right now. But
So still based on the same information as Common Ground and the other one, right? I mean, still like a follow up on those.
yeah, I mean, Kiss the Ground, it really talks about like, here's how we do it. This is what biosequestration is. Here's how farmers can make a profit. This is what regenerative agriculture is. And after the film came out, suddenly in Google searches, the search for regeneration went way up. And so it's got into the nomenclature, got into the mainstream. But Common Ground we filmed during the pandemic, and that really specifically focuses on the US because we couldn't travel, and ultimately what's stopping us from making the transition, like pulling back the curtain and revealing the powers that are keeping us stuck in this system of degradation. Groundswell is about the global movement of regeneration. It shows how people all around the world, with far less than what people have in the United States, are doing to regenerate their climates. I mean, we went to refugee camps in Uganda where people who were war refugees, who had nothing, who had gunshot wounds, were turning the desert where they were living into a regenerative food forest. And we went to places like in India where they were having like their first massive, like 100-year flood that now seem to be happening every year. Where in the middle of the desert, they had created an oasis. I mean, it doesn't matter where you are in the world. It doesn't matter who you are, what you come from, what your resources are. When you start to practice these regenerative principles, whether it's just for your own health, whether it's to heal your environment, whether it's to feed your family, whether it's to make a profit. All of those things are benefited by these practices. And that's what Groundswell shows. It shows how it's being done all around the world, that this is an unstoppable movement. And we're moving out of this sort of age of extraction and into the age of regeneration. And you know what? You know who would have been really proud of this? Jesse. Jesse would
Oh,
have been
yeah,
really
the
proud
girl
of
who
this.
believed in magic. Yeah,
That's
and
right.
that's what this is basically. I mean, it's not really magic, but I mean, you would to get people into it and believing it and following it is the magic part,
Yeah.
because some people don't want to learn anything new. They're stuck in their ways. They don't want to try something different.
Yeah.
But to get them to understand it and believe it and try the different thing and watching it work for them and seeing how they're changing and making things better for themselves and everybody else, is a really great thing to see.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it's I think about that sometimes. I think about her. I know that that sounds ridiculous, but we're
Mhm.
talking about retro movies. And so, for me, it's all full circle. For me,
Do you still keep in touch with anybody from the movie or anything? Or
yeah. Oh, absolutely. Well, I mean, I was in touch with Cloris up until she passed away.
Mhm.
And Sam is like, he's like a dad to me. I mean, he and I aren't super close, but when we talk, it's very special. Um, yeah, he's like a dad. He'll always be like a dad to me. And, he'll always have a very special place in my heart. And it's funny because a lot of people think that he abused me in Prancer. There was actually a lot of talk at the time about that when it came out. Um, and he was a method actor. He is a method actor. So how you saw him be with me on camera was how he was with me in real life. But the reality was is that I always felt cared for by him. And he taught me so much. And I always knew that he was looking out for me. Like if I did the line and it wasn't very good, he'd just be like, that wasn't very good. Do it again. He was just honest with me. I mean, he was one of the best teachers I think I've ever had.
I was gonna say that's the best you could ask for those to be the honesty because you don't know if you're doing wrong or doing bad. If you might
Yeah.
think you're doing great, and if someone says, that didn't quite come across like it should. Let's do it one more time. Do it again, but do this.
Yeah.
And you take it and run with it. That's some of the best teaching you can get.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll never forget that. And then I actually, Retanya Alda, who played my aunt, I just got to see her last Christmas. There's the 35-year anniversary of Prancer in LaPorte, Indiana, where the movie was filmed. And she came, and John Hancock, the director, was there, and I went, and there was a parade, and we did a screening. It was packed.
Mhm.
Um, it was really wonderful. It was like going home, and she was there. It was like seeing my aunt, you know.
I tell everybody all the time, everywhere but where I'm at gets the cool things coming to them. In California and Los Angeles, they have all the 40-year anniversary of this, the 50-year anniversary of that, and there are people from the movies going there, and they're doing a screening, and they're talking about it with a Q&A afterwards or something. And here I am, just outside of Nashville, is where I'm at. So it's a nice place. It's getting bigger, which I don't know if I like that or not, but it's definitely getting bigger. A lot of people are coming here. A lot from California, actually. A lot of people from
Mhm.
California are coming here.
Yeah.
We don't seem to get cool things like that for me. We've had one thing come through here that I can think of, and that was The Princess Bride, and Carrie always came through here and did
Oh,
a screening of The
cool.
Princess Bride and talked about it. But everywhere else, I'm like, that would be so cool if they came here. And they just started doing Comic Cons here a couple of, 3 or 4 years ago. So people are coming in for the Comic Cons, which is really kind of cool. So you should think about that. Nashville Comic Con one
Tell
year.
me when.
I'm
Tell me
just saying,
when.
tell them, say, hey, reach out to this lady and bring her here. We need Jesse Riggs in Nashville for a weekend or something.
Well, here's
Um,
a little Jesse Riggs for you. Hang on 1 second.
yeah.
Guys, I'm doing a podcast. Okay.
Were you getting paged?
That's what Jesse would do. She would just yelled at people.
Just yell at people. And of course, some other young actors at the time that's going to do some good things. Johnny Galecki, Big Bang Theory,
Yeah.
Christmas Vacation,
Hold on
another
1 second.
Christmas movie.
Guys, I can hear you. It's recording right now. Okay, I'm back. Sorry.
Tell them, Jesse. But no, yeah, they want to do good things. What was the girl's name? I mean, I know the Carol
Oh, Ariana
Weatherby, but
Richards.
Ariana, yes,
Yes.
Now, didn't she go on to do? I believe it was Jurassic Park and
She
Angus. She
did.
was in, right?
Oh, I was so jealous when she got Jurassic Park. I remember that. I was like, "Oh,"
Oh,
but she was perfect for that, actually. She couldn't
yeah.
have done it better. And she's an artist now. She's
Really?
yeah. You know, it's just like I said, it's hard to make that transition to want to stay in show business after you've been in it as a kid.
Yeah.
Um, so I really like if I could just go and do art, I think I would.
Well, technically, you are if you think about it. I
Yes.
mean, documentaries is a form of art. You're bringing attention to everything, to everybody. I mean,
It's
that's
true.
good.
But for me, honestly, it's activism. For
Yeah.
me, it is a form of art. It's an art form that I'm using as activism. So
Hmm.
when I started off making documentaries, I remember Tom Brokaw asked us, like, is this propaganda? Because back then they only wanted the documentary that tells two sides of the story. You interview the protagonist, you interview the antagonist, and you let people decide. That's never been our storytelling mode. Our storytelling mode has always been advocacy from day one. And so in the beginning, that was a bit of a challenge, but now they give awards for advocacy documentaries. Now we win awards for that, and so it's a thing now. But it wasn't like when we started, we couldn't actually even say climate change. They're like, don't say climate change. So I've been making movies about climate change for 20 years and couldn't even say the words climate change. Still can't really say the words climate change because
It's
when
funny
people
how
hear
that
them,
works, isn't it?
I know
It's
it's
certain
so
how
weird.
I don't understand how people get triggered by words. But there's a ton of things that you could say today that will trigger the next person that you don't even know will, and then you're just I'm flabbergasted if I say something when someone says, "I can't believe you just said that," and I'm like, "What did I say?" Because to me, it's normal. I mean, I don't mean anything by anything I say. Nothing bad or anything. For example, if you say Merry Christmas to the wrong person, that's no, it's Happy Holidays. Oh,
Right.
well, I'm sorry, Happy Holidays. What then I try to remember that person next time and say Happy Holidays to them because obviously I offended them last time. Not trying to, but still, you grow up a certain way and that's what you know. And it's kind of like what I said earlier about how you bring attention to things to people and getting them to turn to that and do those very same things that you're teaching to them.
Yes.
It's People have to be able to change, and I'm one of those same people. I got to learn not to say certain things around certain people, even though it's everyday speak for me, and I think it's normal. But
Well, for me, I love and I respect people from all cultures, all religions. I mean, any way that a person can get there, I'm for it. You know what I mean? If it's going to
mm,
connect you to God or to spirit or to being your higher self, then amen to that. And I am Jessie after all. I do love Christmas. So you're going to hear me
right,
say Merry Christmas 1,000 times because I love Christmas so much. And I especially love what Christmas represents for me, which is like it's so much. It's about birth, being reborn. It's about, you know, like I know for most of my Midwestern family, it's very much a religious holiday. And so I get a lot of like really beautiful Christmas cards praising Jesus. And I'm always for it, praise Jesus. I'm always for
mhm,
that. And I'm also like, this is a beautiful holiday that celebrates the darkest time of the year. It's when we go into our caves, and then, it's about regeneration. It's about transformation. It's about, you know, that dark moment before the dawn, that darkest moment right before the dawn. And then what comes next is the sun, it's the sunrise. And so I always take Christmas as an opportunity to reflect. It can be a time of grief and sorrow for so many people, which is also appropriate. Um, and also an acknowledgement of like this is the darkest time of our year. And we're going to, burn some logs. It's the Yule tide. We're going to, for me, it's always about nature. I'm always connecting it back to nature. And in composting, there is this moment in composting when everything heats all the way up and everything dies. And then right when that first spark of life comes back into that compost, it's called akua. And interestingly, in Hawaiian, akua is a word for God. And so when I think of Christmas, I think of akua. I think of that spark of life that comes after that death. That's what it is for me. and I know it's different for everybody. So when I
Yeah.
say Merry Christmas, I am embracing all of it, including that dark time of the year. And it's dark for so many. And just to remember that, like I said, it's the darkest before the dawn, and the dawn is coming.
So other than Prancer, which is, of course, my favorite one that you've been in, is there anybody that you've worked with that that you really enjoyed working with? I know obviously Samuel L. and Cloris Leachman and people from that movie and all, but
Oh,
out outs outside of Prancer.
yeah. Well, I've had some really interesting experiences along the way. I mean, I've been yelled at by King Charles, but he's also my buddy, but it's
Mhm.
because we were filming and, I've like overstepped my bounds. And I have a great relationship with him actually after what happened. It was awesome. That's a story for another time. Um, Woody Harrelson, I've had some great experiences with him, some wild experiences with him, just sort of getting into his world a little bit. And that's always an outrageous time. And I really admire him, actually. Knowing him, I really admire him. He's a fierce warrior for the planet.
And
Um,
he's easy to listen to, by the way, for anybody watching this right now or listening to us when this goes out. He's really easy to listen to. So if you watch that documentary that he's narrating, it's really good and interesting. So, like I
yeah.
said, yeah, I can listen to Woody Harrelson talk all day. He's good.
And he's surprising. Like he really is a great spokesperson for this movement. I mean, there've been so many. I mean, Laura Dern, um, talk about an icon. And I've learned so much from her.
Hmm.
I don't know. I think one of the special relationships I had was with David Arquette, just because we filmed with him in Ohio on my dad's land. And my children were really little, and they called him the butterfly man. And he always had like little butterflies in his pockets that he would give to them. He does clowning. He's an
Yeah.
artist. He's just so cool. He had just shown up after having he almost died in like a wrestling match where someone like had a knife, and so he showed up like all bandaged.
He did a movie called something about Rumble. I forget the name of the movie now. Ready to Rumble, possibly.
Mhm,
And
mhm,
then he actually took a stint in professional wrestling,
mhm.
which was
Which almost killed him.
hilarious on its own right there. And it's
Yeah.
funny, almost killed him. You can really get hurt in that. Everybody jokes and says, "Well, wrestling's fake and everything." It's predetermined, but they take those bumps all the time. They're like glorified stuntmen and women is what they are these days. And they take falls. They take falls on their back. They get hit in the head. They get hit in the face. Sometimes you get dropped on your neck inadvertently, and you get injured. So to know that he could have almost died from it's very believable. So
Oh yeah.
um, I
Yeah.
think
I don't know. Actors are eccentric. Oh, one awesome moment was when Laura Dern invited um, us to be on a show called Enlightened on HBO.
mhm.
And Demi Moore just texted me. Oh, I can't. As soon as I hang up with you, I'm
Oh,
going to find out what she wrote.
hold on. I think she just texted me too. Hold up. No, no, that's Bruce Willis. I'm sorry. Never mind. We're talking Die Hard again this year. So
um, what was I saying? Let's see.
I don't know. We didn't got way off. I don't know.
Yeah, well, we lost that one.
Something about we were talking David Arquette and what he did and everything, and I think you were going to something off of that.
Nah, I lost it. Demi Moore texted. That's all I have to say.
That's gonna be the highlight of the show now. To be more texted while you were on the show. See,
I know.
I've gotten text famous, and I didn't even get the
Oh, should I
text.
see what she said? Hold on, let's see what she said.
Go right ahead.
Okay, let's see. What does Demi say? Demi
It
says,
probably says Chris is so great.
okay, wait. Da-da-da-da, ba-ba-da-da. Oh, okay. She's excited to watch the latest cut of Groundswell because
Oh,
that's all I'm going to say. No,
see,
she may or may not be a part of
I sort of said you have a fan base there already,
it.
and that she may or may not be a part of it, or she may be, or
She may or may
we'll
not
have
be
to
a
wait
part
and
of it.
find out when it comes out
Yeah.
and see. Um, but no, that's there you go. Somebody else great to work with,
Yeah.
possibly
Oh,
over the
she's
years.
amazing. I she is the real deal. She's funny, she's beautiful, she's kind, she's authentic. And her fridge is amazing. Actually, I was so inspired when I saw her fridge. She has like all of her beverages lined up. So now my fridge, it has like all of the beverages lined up.
Is it like in a? Is it kind of like a OCD order or something? You
Want to
know, like
see?
it's got to be
Here,
sure.
here, I'll show you my fridge. Let's see. Hold on. Let's see. Hopefully, oh gosh, I really hope it's like all lined up right now because this is going to be super embarrassing if it's not. Okay, you ready?
Sure.
What's in my fridge? Oh, look at that.
Look at it.
All
It
lined
is
up.
perfectly lined up. I mean, it's like you planned this.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Exactly. And then my daughter, she's been making signs. We did like a little social media dance on Instagram. So follow me on Instagram and
So
Facebook if you haven't already.
I
And fear
think
not, these are BB guns. They're BB guns. So because we have coyotes here and all the whole farm.
which I want to ask you about here in a few minutes. Actually, that's I was going to build up to that. I think you just said something about doing something with your daughter on social media. I think is that a
Mhm.
little dance y'all did? You're talking because I follow you on
Yes.
Facebook and Instagram both. So
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I could not help but think that's just a mini version of you
I
when I
know.
saw
Like
that.
you listen, if you liked Prancer, go watch this video that my daughter just directed of she and I doing the Fate of Ophelia
Yeah,
dance. Brace
that's it. That's what
yourself,
it was.
maybe cover your eyes for certain parts. My daughter dressed me and I'm wearing her dance shorts, so no judgments, please. But she taught me to dance and I did the thing and she directed it. So you'll enjoy it
Yeah,
because she reminds me so much of Jessie.
and that's what I was gonna say. It was so funny. I was going like it's like Prancer all over again. So so what we need now is a remake of Prancer with your daughter playing Jessie Riggs. See
I know. Well,
that
they actually made a sequel that came out in like, I don't know, early 2000s.
hmm
And then they made a remake that came out a couple of years ago, but I don't know. I actually don't know anything about it. And I wrote to the writer and the producer, Raffaella, and I was like, hey, I'm a little upset over here.
where's my
How come I wasn't
cameo?
in it? How come my kids aren't the star? I think they wrote something back like, oh, they wrote back there was like some reason.
I have not seen. I know of the sequel. I have not seen the sequel. I did not know there was a remake though.
I know. I'm not sure. I really would love to see it. That would be like so fun.
I I don't know that I'm a huge fan of remakes myself. Being someone who loves retro movies, 80s and 90s movies that I grew up on, and some of the 70s flicks and everything. Being that I'm such a fan of these, I want them kind of left alone. But at the same time, some of them are kind of cool with a remake, I guess. I would never want to see Jaws remade. You know,
Oh, I have a story. So wait, Dune, what about the Dune remake?
I didn't watch it, but
What?
I didn't. I'm guilty of not. I am so guilty of not watching so many things right now because I only want to sit here and watch the old things I liked watching. So
Just Prancer on repeat
people
24/7.
had exactly when it comes to Christmas time, I got 4 days in a row. One day is all Christmas story, right? 'Cause they play it on TV 24 hours, and then you
Mhm.
got to watch the Christmas Vacation movie, right?
Mhm.
And then you got to watch
Mhm.
Prancer, and
Definitely.
then occasionally I'll throw in something like Jingle All the Way or Elf or something,
Elf is good.
but
I
Elf
love
is
Elf.
good. They
Yeah,
just seen
Zoe
it the other day,
Deschanel.
right? Does a
Love her.
great role in that. Good singing voice
Mhm.
too. I mean,
I
she's
know.
great.
She was in my acting class. She's amazing. I
Was she
loved her.
really? That's awesome.
Yeah.
That she now with singing makes me think of this. It's kind of funny. I remember the little Jessie Riggs singing
Mhm.
and the what was it? The play, the school play, and I
Yes.
believe now. Correct me if I'm wrong. Did you say you had to go out of your way to sing so badly
I'm
because
actually kind of messed up about all this, if I'm honest. This could turn into a therapy session pretty quickly here. I'm a good singer, people.
right, right? That's what.
So,
Yeah,
they were like, she has to sing badly. It was in the script. And so I was acting. That's called acting. Acting.
acting. Right.
And so my whole life, though, I've had this stigma that I'm a terrible singer, and it's kind of messed with my head. And actually, when I was in eighth grade, I went to the Professional Performing Arts School in New York City, and I was along with one other girl, one of the youngest in the senior choir. And my music theory partner was Alicia Reyes at the time, and her name is now Alicia Keys. And so
hmm
she and I would do we did like music like hand cymbals, intervals, piano duets. I mean, she was so talented that kind of sealed the deal for me, that I was like, I will never be as good as her. So the combination of the world thinking I'm a terrible singer, and then like listening to Alicia Keys sitting next to me at the piano playing and singing, I was just like, ah, forget it. I'll
Oh,
stick to
see,
making movies.
no, no, you've already started something now. You've already started. You don't realize this. You've already started something. Okay. What we have to have now is the grown up Jesse Riggs doing a Christmas album. Okay.
Oh, I
Singing
love
Christmas
that
songs.
idea.
But you actually sing them. Don't do it in Jesse style. Do it and do it
Right.
for real. See, and you can say
Oh.
that's what you got to do now.
You know what? Next year we'll debut my Christmas album right here. How does that sound?
That there you go. That's see, great minds think alike, people.
Yes.
Okay. All right. But no, that's awesome though. Um, where was I? Oh, I was going to ask you about the ranch.
Hmm.
I was looking at that earlier on your Facebook page and seeing stuff about that. And actually, it was a video you did where you were reintroducing yourself basically to everybody,
Yes.
and you were
Yes.
talking about the ranch, and that looks really cool. Actually, tell us about that.
So back in 2012, when we were just super broke and we'd made our first few films, we had this dream of having a farm where we could make movies about healing the earth, where we could educate people about sustainability. Now the phrasing is regeneration, because we don't want to just sustain, we want to regenerate.
Mhm.
And where we could grow food and have a family. And then just Jessie in her magic ways, somehow we ended up getting a really beautiful 5-acre farm in Ojai, California. And so now I have like my daily duties involve cleaning chicken poop, gathering eggs, grooming the llama, saving the cat. Like the cats are covered in rat bites because they're doing their jobs. I mean, it's just the peahen is always flying over to Donald Glover's house, so it's just like nonstop farming activity. But the reality is I'm learning how to heal the soil here. It was a conventional farm for a long time. So while we make movies in the barn here on the property, um, we also are learning how to take care of the soil and how to sequester our own share of carbon into the land and how to grow healthy food. And my favorite thing to do is to gather food with my children and for us to either eat it right there. Like yesterday as a cover crop, I put turnips out as a
Mhm.
cover crop. So I have, I don't know, 3,000 turnips, like probably more than that, like so many turnips right now. Turns out you can just eat raw turnips. We were out there yesterday, just like eating the turnips out of the ground with the soil and all.
I've never done that before. I know people use them as substitute for potatoes sometimes. You know,
Mhm.
they'll use turnips in their place, something maybe a little healthier or something. But I've never actually eaten one. Just like I know people who will take onions and just eat them right out like that. Uh,
Oh, I
I
love to like take a pomegranate. I have so many pomegranate right now. Just crush it on a rock. It feels like very satisfying. And then you rip it open with your bare hands and then you just eat it. I have a photo. I'm actually about to post something today where you'll see my hands. It looks like I'm covered in blood, but it's just the pomegranate juice. And it's like these beautiful rituals of connecting with nature and tasting the flavors of nature and smelling the smells of nature and the sounds of nature and being able to do that with my children and then eat the food that we grow. And it's like, I think maybe the thing that gives me the most joy in life.
Oh, when I was younger, we would have a garden every year when I was younger. So didn't not a huge garden, but big enough that it would last us for a little while. And I always loved tomatoes right out of the garden. So this past year, I don't have a place where I can put a garden in the backyard, um, like I'd really like to do. But we took some
Mhm.
buckets, some 5 gallon buckets this year, and tried that. So I've learned, however, it's not a smart idea for the tomatoes. So next year they're going in my backyard regardless around the back porch, and we're just going to line them up right
Oh,
there.
yeah.
Uh,
That's,
I
a food, having like an edible garden. That's the coolest thing. That's more beautiful than anything.
Well,
There's,
I've decided we're gonna do an above ground, like a raised garden. What we're gonna do,
oh, it's
um,
good.
it's not my yard to tear up, so I'm not gonna do that. But we're gonna do a raised garden, and we're gonna do some more things other than tomatoes, some squash and zucchini probably, and definitely some more jalapeno peppers. I did well with the
Oh,
jalapeno peppers this year. I had
oh,
more,
yeah.
way more than I could eat. Ended up giving a lot of them away, but that's okay though too. Though there's something about, like you said earlier, something about growing your own and eating it. It's fresh out of the garden. It tastes different. If
Mhm.
I go to the grocery store now and buy a tomato, it does not taste the same as the one that I took off the plant in the front yard this year.
That's
completely
right.
different.
Well, and actually that's true. That the longer something sits on a shelf, the more depleted the flavor becomes. The flavor actually is only there because of the symbiosis with insects. And so it's a symbiosis between the soil, the plant, and insects that gives food flavor. It gives it color, it gives it flavor. And so if you grow food devoid of insects and healthy soil, and basically a monocrop lab, which is how most of our food is grown, it's not going to have any flavor. Only food that comes from these types of heirloom seeds, that's grown in healthy soil, that gets to connect, have its roots in that mycelium web. That's what makes food taste amazing, and it's what makes us so healthy. It's Yeah, it's one of the joys of life. And actually, if you'd like to find out another reason why it makes you so happy to garden, you should check out my movie, The Earthing Movie, on YouTube. It's been viewed on YouTube over 8 million times. And I think the short film was viewed over 120 million times just in the
Well,
first
what's it
couple of
called again?
months. It's called The Earthing Movie.
The Earthing movie.
So
Okay.
much of the work I do now is about how we can heal the planet. That movie is about how the planet can heal us just by simply being in contact with her. And it's actually scientifically founded. It's pretty incredible. We're electrical. The earth is electrical. When you touch the earth, you're getting a charge of electrons that floods in your body. All of these peer-reviewed studies show that after 15 minutes, inflammation in your body begins to reduce, and it helps your body to function optimally. There's study after study after study. The film does a great job of explaining the science of it.
Hmm.
And it's also my personal story of healing. And I, it's another I highly recommend watching the Earthing movie. If you're going to watch, okay, 3 movies, watch the Earthing movie, watch Kiss the Ground, and watch Common Ground, because I think it will change your life and for the better. And you'll be entertained along the way by a bunch of celebrities and really cool music and graphics and
Well, I'll have to
storytelling.
find that Earthing
If
when
you
we get
say
done
so
with this
myself.
and take a look at that myself. That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
And you remind me of like what uh, my father, he likes to sit outside. And everybody always says, you'd be surprised if you just sit outside in the sun for a half an hour, how much difference you feel as opposed to being in the house all day.
That's right.
You're getting the fresh air, you're getting the sun on you, and whatever it is, it does to
And an
you. It does make a
electron
difference.
charge. That's the
Yes.
thing that people don't realize. So the electron charge is what you feel when you talk about a tree hugger. Touching a tree, you're literally, the minute you touch the earth, not your rubber soled shoes, not in your apartment, but when you touch a tree or when you touch the earth, your body gets a charge of electrons. So there's science behind what's happening. And I assert that it's not just electrons that you're getting charged with. I assert that when you connect into that soil, into that mycorrhizal web of fungi that connects all creatures on Earth, that you're not just getting an electron charge. I believe that you're getting a higher intelligence of information into your body that can help us to heal, that can help us to be connected to everyone and everything. Because I do think we're all connected. And so that's one way that we can tap into that connection, is to touch the earth. Because when you touch the earth, you are in contact with every being on the earth, at least the ones that are connected to it. So
And
take off your shoes, watch the Earthing movie, find out
right.
why it will change your life, and then watch Kiss the Ground and Common Ground and figure out how we can heal our beautiful planet.
It definitely feels different when you're walking through your yard barefooted versus in your shoes. So
Yes.
you have a different feel for that. Well, I tell you what, stick around with me for a minute. I'm gonna go ahead and close the show up, and I want to just say thank you for coming on with us today. It has been
Oh,
so fun talking with you. So great, hearing about your view on Prancer and all these documentaries, great documentaries you've been putting out for through the 2000s and everything. It's been really good. And I once again I'm writing this down because I am the earthing, right?
mhm.
I've got to write this. If I don't write this down, I have found the older I get, the less I retain, and I blame that on many things. But the earthing, I wrote that down. I'm
The
going to check that
Earthing
out.
movie on YouTube. So 90
Right.
minutes, 80 something minutes, you'll see it. You see my voice and my face and my daughter in the very beginning. It will change your life. I really do believe that. And
It was.
and thank you for listening to my spiel. And I look forward to connecting with everyone who's listening right now on social media. I would love to hear from you. And
Oh, and
um,
speaking of which,
yeah,
put your social media out there for everybody so they know where to find you at.
yeah.
That way they can keep up with you and everything.
So on Instagram, I'm Becca Tickell, Becca Tickell. On Facebook, I'm Rebecca Harrell Tickell. So you can just type my name in and I'll add you. You can also check out our films. So Common Ground Film is the Instagram handle for Common Ground. You can also go to 100millionacres.org. That's 100millionacres.org. That is our tracking of how many acres are currently in transition to regeneration. And so that's something that we're super excited about, because once we get to 10%, which 100 million acres is, that's the tipping point. You know, Malcolm Gladwell's tipping point. That's the irreversible moment where regeneration takes over. And for the planet, that's 1 billion acres. So that's the next goal. 100 million acres in the US. And then with groundswell, the goal is 1 billion acres. So I would love for you to be on that journey with me as we watch people waking up to the power that we have to heal the earth and the power that the earth has to heal us.
That's awesome. And you guys know where to find us at. You know, we're Retro Life for You on Instagram and Facebook, and on YouTube. If you go to YouTube, youtube.com/at Retro Life for You to see all the videos. The website is retrolife, the number 4, the letter u.com, and retrolife for you at Gmail. If you want to send us an email, if you have any questions or suggestions for shows, check out the stuff we put out on Instagram for this, and put your comments up there for us. Let us know what you thought about the show today. And
It was
check,
awesome.
awesome. Check out all our stuff. Hey, we need to be more texter in the middle of the show, for crying out loud, people. Come on. It's awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
we go way back with her, okay? Television and all.
Aw, that's right.
But
Well, I go
but
way back with you. I really do. So grateful for Prancer. I'm so grateful for all the Prancer fans. I mean, really and truly, you're all like family to me. So I'm happy to be in it with you.
well, we
And look, we're
appreciate it.
old now. What happened? Oh my
I
God.
don't know. I don't. I try not to think about it, but every time I wake up in the morning, I remember, you know, the age is there. You can't get away from it. So
That's right.
it's all right, though. We can be young at heart.
We can regenerate.
We can regenerate. There you go. See,
Yes.
that's it. That's the best. That's probably the best way to end it right there. We can regenerate. Uh,
Yes, we can.
Hang on for me just a second. I'm going to put the ending thing on here, and then I'll get right back with you. Okay. Thanks everybody for listening today. Share with your friends. Follow if you haven't followed yet. Subscribe to it and everything. And once again, let us know what you think of everything, and see you guys next week. Thanks again, Rebecca.
Thank you.